Flip the switch, turn it on. Animation's never gone. From Toontown tales to frames that glow. Behind the scenes, come join the show. It's Lightbox. Bright ideas, cartoons alive. Lightbox, where animation thrives. Sketch it, ink it, bring it to life. Let's talk anime, art, and cartoons tonight. Lightbox, the way to that way.
Okay, we're live. We're hitting in the background. And welcome to Lightbox, the official podcast of the West Australian Animation Association Animate. Whether you're an aspiring animator, a seasoned professional, or simply a fan of the magical world of animation, you've come to the right place. My name is Tanya Beeson.
I'm David O'Connell.
And I'm Lindsay Flay.
And we'll be your guide on this monthly journey into the heart of the animation industry in Western Australia. Each month, Lightbox will bring you the latest and greatest in animation news, from upcoming films and shows to industry discussions that will inspire and empower the talented animators who call West Australia home. We'll also delve into the creative processes and challenges faced by our local animators as they work tirelessly to bring their unique visions to life. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed as we explore the vibrant, ever-evolving world of West Australian animation. This is Lightbox, and we're just getting started. Sorry. We wish to acknowledge and honour the traditional custodians of the land we are streaming from, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We recognise and celebrate their enduring culture, the rich tapestry of Indigenous arts, and the invaluable contributions they make to the vibrancy and cultural diversity of the city and region.
And before we dive into today's content, we'd also like to issue a quick advisory warning. Look, while our channel is generally suitable for most audiences, there may be occasions when we delve into topics and showcase content that might not be appropriate for younger viewers. So we do strive to create engaging and enjoyable content for everyone, but please be advised that some material may not be suitable for children. So parental discretion is advised, and we'll encourage you to review the content before sharing it with younger audiences. Our goal is to provide a safe and enjoyable viewing experiences for all, and we appreciate your support and understanding in this. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, on to the news. Okay, so first couple of things coming up. We've got...
You guys all handle this one? Yep.
Yes, someone's finally caught a stream. Hello, Aiden. Nice you to join us. Thank you. It's great. So, the Wanimate survey, which is our first piece of news, I suppose. Out on our socials and through emails, if you are connected to us through email, you may have gotten a survey that's come out. Wanimate are basically collecting data for the local industry. We've hunting around, seeing who's doing what, making sure everyone's connected to us, and trying to seek those people who are on the fringes of dealing with us directly. So if you are involved with this in any way, fill out that survey. Involved in the animation industry here in Western Australia or elsewhere, fill out the survey and tell us who you are and what you do. So it's really cool if you can do that. Also, the annual general meeting is time zones are annoying. Yes.
Yeah, they can be.
Time zones are annoying, and we are on the annual general meeting, which has a date. It's October 30, so Halloween Eve, so the night before Halloween, or is Halloween Eve Halloween? Like,
I thought Halloween was an Eve.
Yeah, it's on the 30th, not the 31st, so it's not going to interrupt any of your parties or
sugar hits.
sugar hits or trick or treating or whatever you're doing to celebrate Halloween.
Horror watching. Yeah.
Horror watching, yeah. Ah, yes. Animated horror watching, David.
Mm.
Well, we got a few examples of anime horror coming up this evening.
Oh well, I was thinking we could actually maybe that's a topic for next month.
Oh, potentially, like anime horror. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The adult warning needs to go on that one big time.
Yeah.
And
For
I
all
propose
adults
I propose
especially.
Mike Lee being a guest on the show at that point.
Oh, that might veer away from horror into
Yeah.
another H with anime, but never mind.
True.
Nice.
Okay. Sorry. Just dive down through my script. So, also, there is Media World Entertainment, formerly West Australian, now based out of Melbourne, have announced their new animated children's series, Happy House. Happy House is set in a world where internet famous animals.
But not number.
I'm just watching Connor stuff up our slides in the background. Like, I'm going to call you out. Like, just do them forward and backwards. Why are you going that way? I have a slide for these things. Next.
Don't overthink it.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Happy House. Hi. Okay.
That's why.
Yeah, that's my fault. Okay, it's out of order. So, Happy House set in a world where internet famous animals are the creators of their own adorable viral content. Sounds fun. So, another Australian animation being created. So I'm excited to see where it goes and how it goes. And yes. Also, I should mention the Wanamate Committee are working on making Christmas meetup plans. It's something that everyone is chatting about. So
That's good. Yeah, all three of us.
what do you mean, three of us? Three of us. There's several more than three of us. Not just the committee here, but yes. Okay.
Anyway.
Let's go back a slide
All right.
and talk about the news.
Okay, so we've had the shutdown of, the production shutdown, I should say, of Nirvana Studios from Canada. We were talking about them not that many episodes ago when we were covering Star Wars, I believe.
Yeah, so they were fairly big doing Star Wars animation in the 80s, and they were fairly respected and well known. It's actually been quite a surprise that they've closed doors. So I believe
information is a little sketchy. I believe they've closed doors for production. I think they're still doing distribution. So I don't know how that's going to work, but yeah.
Gee.
Okay, on social media, the voice of Beast Boy, Greg Sipes, has claimed to be fired from his voicing Beast Boy, his job. Now he says that it's possibly due to health issues that he's suffering.
Yes, I put allegedly in everything that we say at this point because I've been hearing contrary things back and forth across the social media about Greg Sipes' claims and Warner Brothers' responses, and as you well know, if you say anything good or bad about Warner Brothers, a Snyder Bro attacks you from the shadows. So.
You've summoned them now. All right, and finally, we should state that Arcane today has just won the Outstanding Animated Program at the 77th Emmy Awards. So congratulations there.
Well done. That's
done.
really, really cool.
All right, so let's go into the it is a bit. So let's go into the coming soon, or in this case, recently released. So we've got out the cinemas now: Demon Slayer, KNY, in the Infinity Castle. So this is the first of 3 movies that are finishing off the Demon Slayer series, and it's first of the Infinity Castle arc. And yeah, I managed to catch it last week. It's very Demon Slayer, very anime, and quite beautiful. The actual design of the castle itself is kind of like this continually evolving, almost MC Escher-like style, or labyrinth style structure, given a Japanese feudal Japanese makeover. And yeah, it's going places. So I'd be very happy to see how the next 2 shape up. So we've also had Lesbian Space Princess, which I believe you caught. Yep.
Yes, I've seen it. It's a great Australian animation. It's an amazing queer animation if you're into such things, and who isn't these days? And it's well worth ducking down to the local cinema and seeing, and just getting a sneak peek at what's going on in Australian brains at the moment. It's recommended just to watch the sequences with the single white malians.
Good.
It's also because it was previewed at Cinefest. They also previewed Tales from Outer Suburbia, which comes out later or early next year. Sean Tan's animated series. So reports coming through that is looking good and feeling like an amazing Australian animated series.
Cool.
A lot of it done here locally by Siamese. So early 2026. Thank you, SubQuest.
Nice.
So, cool.
Okay, and finally we've had the re-release of Toy Stories for its 30th anniversary, a 4K release of it. So I think that still might be in cinemas at the moment. So if it is, and you're feeling like all nostalgic, go see that.
See Toy Story in the cinema.
So have they done anything to it, like remastered it or anything like that?
Probably just upgraded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do remember the original being quite, plain, I guess, compared to what Pixar was putting out at the time. So when they made it, it was plain. So like compared to what they were doing with their shorts, Toy Story looked a bit ordinary in terms of rendering and technology, because basically they had to stop developing technology and just get the thing made, as they essentially, invented our industry pretty much. Or reinvented it, I should say. So I'll be curious to see what they've done with it. Might check it out.
Okay, so let's get into the new stuff that's coming soon then. So he says, and realizing what the first one is on the list. So we've got another season of Futurama out on September the 16th. We've got on the 18th.
Has anyone been watching the new seasons of Futurama?
I have to admit, I haven't, so I feel bad about that.
I have to confess, I started from scratch season 1. I was amazed at how 90s it all was. Like all these jokes about electric cars being these dreadful things of evil, which was kind of funny. And all these talking heads, like there's Beck and all these 90s superstars as heads in jars. So it's like, it's like a little microcosm of the late 90s or something. It's kind of weird. But, yeah, the jokes are pretty good. I forgot how inventive the first couple of series were. It's a bit like The Hitchhiker's Guide. It just takes all the existing tropes of science fiction, completely turns them on their head. That's just been interesting. I haven't seen the later ones though. In fact, they're unknown to me, I have to say. So,
okay, so we've got Bad Guys 2 coming out on September the 18th, which is actually really, really quite a good little heist crew genre piece, but just made for younger audiences. So it
Yeah.
still plays really
The
well.
first one was actually brilliant. Like,
Yeah. This keeps it up. It really does. It's going to take a bit more of a spy-fi sort of tilt at it, and I suspect that's what they're moving if they go on. But yeah, it's really good to see. It's just them struggling with going straight. We've got Dora the Magic Mermaid's Adventures as well on the 18th. On the 19th, we have Haunted Hotel.
in 3D, it looks weird.
Oh god.
Yeah, so
Is that
it's
a mer monkey?
yeah, Boots has got a mertail now as well,
Oh.
and he's not wearing boots, which means, you know,
Yeah, well,
So
so
it's
what
tails now?
can he use the name anymore?
Well, his boots a state of
Wow, okay.
mind.
Oh, true. Haunted Hotel looks amazing though.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Lego
interesting.
Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past on the 19th. September 20th. I think this is Revival House. It has a show in Shrek 2. September 22nd, Spirit Away and Ponyo at Luna. And then we're on to anime. So October, we'll cover a bit of October because we're a bit late this time around. Look, early October marks the fall season for anime, and there's a lot of new series coming out. So these are a few that returning favorites, and one that's kind of so weird that I've got to see it. So Spy Family is coming back. So see the Adventures of the Forgers that's a great anime. My Hero Academia final season is kicking off. So for all those that have invested, 6 seasons so far in that, plus movies and spin-off series, we'll finally get to see how the epic showdown turns out. Ranma Half season 2 is coming out on 4th of October as well. Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying the redo of it, and yeah, they haven't changed. Doesn't feel like they've changed all that much about it, but they've just kind of modernized it a little bit, and yeah, it's still a very sweet story. This is the mad one, Sandar. So in a dystopian near future, I think it is, Christmas and holidays have been banned, and one school kid finds himself with the powers of Santa Claus to cope with against the authorities. So
he's a grimdark Santa Claus, isn't it?
I've no idea. It just looks mad. I kind of want to see it. Yeah, it seems like the Shonen Battle anime with Santa in the mix. So.
Yeah. And Adidas stripes by the looks of it.
Yeah. That's the outfit. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah,
and finally, we've got One Punch Man season 3 coming on October 12th. Still haven't caught season 2. I've heard tell that drops the ball a bit from season 1, but yeah, let's see how season 3 handles the most overpowered hero imaginable that can end fights with one punch, but doesn't end up throwing that punch very often in the series. So let's see how it goes. October 16th, Solar Opposites final season starts. Also on October 16th, we have Night of the Zoopocalypse coming out in cinemas. So a bit of kid-friendly horror to get in the mood for Halloween season.
Give us a little bit of a preview of the sort of thing we can expect coming out of the fall season of anime. Is there anything weird that's on your radar?
Really, no. I have to admit, with the full season, I've shown you the weird. I think the I'm not going to say the weirdest one, but the one with an interesting twist. I've shown you the ones that have got, I've previously enjoyed and getting another series. The rest of it seems to. There's a lot of isekai and romance in there, and nothing so far that's sort of popped up on the radar or something else to look out for. But it always happens. First couple of weeks of October, something might catch my eye, and I'll see an episode or two and see if it's worth pursuing or not. So yeah, nothing I'm going, oh yeah, got to see. No. I'm just very happy with like Spy Family returning.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're already
Here
up
we
to the chat. Let's talk. Today's
Thinking of
episode is all about anime, and I know some of you have been waiting for me to have this conversation for a while. Let's see how much Tanya actually knows about anime. Like very little people.
Oh, well, we've all had our periods with it, though. That's for sure.
It's true.
And for the most part, that's what we're going to be covering here, because we're only covering how it came to the West and how it sort of appeared for the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So probably next year we'll have to cover the big explosion that happens in the 90s with anime. But yeah, this is some of our first contact with the genre, or the art form, I guess, genre. Yeah, see how we go. Now, I've got to put a preface on this. It's actually finding out what animes came to Australia at what time isn't the easiest thing. I've got a good coverage of America's releases, but a lot of the Australian stuff isn't released, and there's some things that I recall that wasn't noted down as being on TV, and I'm assuming Tanya or Lindsay will possibly have similar experiences as we go on. So
So pretty much, mate. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Actually, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I basically had a little brief anime relationship in the late 80s, early 90s, and where I discovered that most of the stuff I saw in the early 90s, mid 90s, had actually come out in the 80s. So my contact with it was on the big screen, basically. So less on series, which I caught up with retrospectively on things like SBS, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and on video, Project A-ko, and all those sort of things. After Cowboy Bebop, it kind of all fell away for me a little bit. So,
well, we'll probably chat about that in the 90s, but we're going to be talking about more of our childhood experiences with it, I suspect. Let's just start with the basics. So, anime as a medium has been going roughly about 100 years, over 100 years now. So I think the first one that's complete, there may have been small examples beforehand, is 1917's The Dull Sword. The first anime movie, full-length feature, is Momotaro Sacred Sailors, which was a piece of wartime propaganda made to try and get people to join the Imperial Japanese Navy in 1945.
There is also an amazing short, which is Mickey Mouse and Felix the Cat attacking Japan.
Are we going to look? Should we cover at some stage wartime and the propaganda?
I would love to, because I've dived deep into wartime, and I probably need to watch, Hitler's children and De Fuhrer's face again.
All right, so we'll do that come next year sometime. So we've got two topics for next year already planned out. Sweet, let's get in for this one then. So let's launch into. It's really in the 60s that they started to come into American culture. So Toei Animation, which had formed, I think, in the 50s, released a number of films that in the 60s were brought into America and slightly changed and dubbed for America.
There's a little bit of history that's missing there, Dave.
Yep,
So a lot of the soldiers had their own reels of films and stuff like that when they were in post-war Japan, when they were stationed in Okinawa. And so there was a bit of a cultural exchange. So a lot of American films were being screened in Japan as part of the rebuild post Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and so there was a lot of young Japanese artists getting experience looking at American animated films. So there's indeed a switch in terms of style and design that happens from that post-war period through to the 60s. Whereas you look at the early film, like The Dull Sword and Sacred Soldiers, had a distinct Japanese look to them. And then you get, later on, as you get towards the 60s, you get more of an anime feel. We can talk about the three that are on the screen. But
I think also we should, when we hit 1963's Astro Boy, we'll definitely talk about the influence of Disney there as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the three on the screen. So Magic Boy, the Panda and the Magic Serpent, and Alakazam the Great. All three were released in America. I'm assuming they also got Australian releases, but I can't confirm that one. None of them did really spectacularly well as far as box office goes, although they did get a little bit of critical acclaim as to the state of the art at the time.
Panda and the Magic Serpent looks beautiful, but is Alakazam a monkey?
It's a monkey story. Journey to the West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except they've added a new character. They've tried to make the entire story in about an hour and a half, which is ambitious to say the least.
Wow.
Yeah. They've added a love interest for Monkey, and
okay.
And tried to put it down into feature film, the whole story into feature film length. So, yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Wasn't Tezuka basically influenced by those wartime films? And then
okay. So let's go to.
That's how he got his big start, essentially being inspired by that stuff and wanting to make them. And then
let's go to the next slide and
let's talk about. Okay, there was also in the 60s. There was also a set of series that made their way through American TV, and the big one of the big ones for that was 1963's Astro Boy, or
Mighty Atom.
Yeah. So based on Tezuka's manga of the same name, premiered on Fuji TV and then on NBC later in the same year, and it's just was it? I think 193 episodes in Japan. Only 100, 102, 105, somewhere around that mark in America. So there's a lot that was missing in the redo. It was one of the architects of this was Fred Ladd, who we'll hear from again. He was basically an American producer and scriptwriter. And one of the things that he did was look for overseas films that could be brought into America and animation specifically. He was had done a lot of European stuff in the 50s, and he was instrumental in bringing Astro Boy over to America in the 60s. And there's a few others that he also brought over as well, which I'll talk about in a moment. So we've got Astro Boy. 1963, we also got Gigantor, or Tetsuzun 28. 65, Eighth Man, which is a cyborg anime and probably a precursor in many ways to both Super Sentai shows and to cyborg shows. So things like the $6 Million Man. Oh, debt of gratitude to this. Prince Planet, space opera related, and The Amazing Three, which is almost a cutesy sort of space opera. So 1965 to 67, Kimber the White Lion. So again, based on Tazaka's manga, it's another Mushi production for Fuji TV. It's one of the first full-color TV animes, and brought into America by Fred Ladd again, who's also, I should have said, responsible for Gigantor as well, being brought to America.
Yeah.
You could these next couple of animes are ones that kind of have a bit of resonance with at least myself, and I suspect Lindsay and Tanya as well.
Absolutely.
Because they were in color, and there was a shift, color TVs at the time. So consequently, in the later 60s, there was a shift towards screening color content for those with color TVs. So consequently, Kimber, Marine Boy in 1966 and 1967 Speed Racer all got quite a lot of screen time here in Australia. More so.
I watched a bit of Speed Racer, but all of Kimber the White Lion. So
I remember seeing a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Colour didn't really turn up in Perth, at least, until about 77, I think.
Yeah,
really
agreed.
And so a lot of the stuff I saw was black and white.
Yeah, but it was we didn't end up seeing it's weird. We didn't end up seeing the black and white stuff. We ended up seeing the color stuff on black and white TVs because that was the style of the time. Some strange things like Marine Boy. Marine Boy is one that I remember very fondly.
I saw a lot. I think they repeated it a lot in the 80s. I think.
They did. Yeah,
and that's when all the colour
80s.
came out.
Yeah,
Speed Racer was always very kind of weirdly stylish in a kind of 60s way.
Yeah, it's weird. Speed Racer only got a season, which considering that it's got a fairly large tale and legacy to it. As you're looking at Kimber, which had 3 seasons, and Marine Boy, which had 70-odd episodes, which is interesting because it was initially a failed series of 13 episodes, but when Warner Brothers started to take an interest in it, they produced another 62 episodes on that, and and it's screened first in America rather than Japan. So the English-speaking episode was the first done, and then it was screened for Japanese, and that was because of the Warner Brothers intent of the contract.
Yeah, one of the realities of television in Perth in the early days, and by early I mean late 60s, early 70s, mid 70s, is that kids' TV was just basically the tail end of priorities, and so there wasn't any sense of seasons or stories or anything like that. They just show random episodes continuously for years on end.
Yeah, these things. There's no doubt these would have been bundled in packages.
So they kind of treated them a little bit like standalone Warner Brothers cartoons. There was when I watched these things, I never ever got the sense that there was a continuing story. I just got to say, oh, here's an episode of this, like, oh, here's an episode of that, and it was like watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon. It's like each one was always treated as standalone. I think the only exception to that was Speed Racer, which had cliffhangers, I think. But all the others were like generic story start, middle, end, story ends. And there's a formula, and that was it. Well, quite simple.
I remember with Kimber and Speed Racer, there was always the overall arc, Speed's trying to work out who Racer X is and, mourning for his brother. Kimber's, always trying to avenge his father and keep his spirit alive by defending the jungle,
Defending the Pride Lands against the
Pride
hyenas.
Lands. I couldn't remember. And the series is right there. So my bad.
Oh. Interesting.
Nice.
It was not Makuma Matata.
No.
All right. Look, the other thing I should mention, and that's going to become something later on, is there was not just series being brought over from Japan. There was work being done in Japan for American companies. So Rankin Bass, which was Videocraft at the time, did a number of things there. I believe the stop motion since Reindeer was carried out in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So, so the other thing they did was the King Kong show. So it was an American series produced by Toei and Rankin Bass. And this is interesting. No, it's only mild success, went for a season, but it did spawn 2 movies from it, kind of. The developers went over and talked to Toei's competition Toho, and got 2 live-action movies. One of which was a Godzilla versus Ghidorah film. I can't remember what it was also titled, but Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, I think it's called as well.
Right. So we treat these as kaiju films then.
Yeah, one kaiju film, which was initially, it's turned into a Godzilla film, but it was initially pitched as a Kong film, which makes a lot of sense if you've seen it because it's all Pacific Islands stated. And the sequel to King Kong versus Godzilla was also arose out of this as well, which is it, King Kong Returns, I believe. So yeah, 2 kaiju films came out of that. All right, so let's go to a time which we've got more chance in the 70s of remembering. So
there's that warning. There's that warning we needed.
Mad fruit.
This is a very odd one. Okay, so let's go for this. In 1972, Tasaka's company, which was, what was it, Mushi Productions at the time? Yep, Mushi Productions was going bankrupt. So they managed to convince American company to screen Cleopatra, Queen of Sex, as it's now titled, which is the 1970s film that he released as part of his Anorama trilogy. So that was screened as a American X-rated movie, and it might be one of the first cartoon X-rated movies to actually be there. I think it's post.
It predates Fritz the Cat by a year, I think.
Oh,
What?
okay, yeah.
Sorry, my universe just got split open here.
Yeah, which is really it's really odd because it's adult, but it's not really pornographic. So it did not do well in the intended audience. Apparently, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if it got into Australia, and it's one of those that I'd have a hugely difficult time trying to work out what was screening in an X-rated cinema in 1970s Australia, around Australia. So it's possible, but I don't know.
That's a question you'd ask David Stratton if he was still alive.
Well, it may be tied in terms of releases. Fritz was released on April 12th in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just verify. Cleopatra, Queen of Sex. Does it have a wiki page?
It should do.
No, just the image page. Just image page with safe search on. There we go.
Oh dear. Better confirm your age there, Tanya.
Yeah. So release dates was 15th of September 1970 for Japan, but April 24th in 1972.
Wow.
So just
for America.
Right.
So literally a day later.
Okay. All right. So let's keep going.
A couple of weeks, 2 weeks later. So
okay. Let's keep going with the 70s. A couple of things happened. There was a little movie that we might know called Star Wars that got released and had a lot of studios scrambling for sci-fi content.
So
yes. So consequently,
enter Sandy Frank.
Yeah. So consequently, Battle of the Planets, 1978, which was 1972 Science Ninja Team Gatchaman, got picked up for release. And 1979 Star Blazers, which was 1974's space battleship Yamamoto. got the Western.
Sandy, when they took Battle of the Planets back to the US, they kind of butchered quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
So Gaichaman's show, basically they made it a space, even though the original was set on Earth. They made what was the line again in the intro? In English, it was fighting worlds at the edge of space, beyond the galaxy, that kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
But didn't they have an R2D2 clone?
Yeah, Seven's Arc 7.
Yeah.
Seven's Arc 7 was added. So Seven's Arc 7, because the cuts they had to make for Western audiences because of ratings and things like that, all the episodes were coming up short. So they added in Seven's Arc 7 to tie the stories together for American audiences. So Seven's Arc 7 sort of guided the stories from Center Neptune with One Rover One, his little robot with super cute.
There was always something very sus about Quark because he never ever once met the cast. He was always
Seven's Arc 7
talking about the show.
Oh, no, there was a couple of times when they met the cast. They were drawn completely different, but they were there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what I think that's something. Sorry, it's something I hadn't mentioned before and we hadn't discussed. A number of the shows did have to have their more adult content cut down for showing on the web.
Like American network executives, basically.
Yeah. Oh, there was themes that were too dark. Things that would not fly on TV at the time. They just had people dying on screen. That all that had to be sort of suddenly either changed in the dub or just cut out as far as the episodes go.
The catch-all excuse we used to get when we were working on things like that was that, you don't want to upset the Bible Belt. And it was like, oh, okay. And that was the justification for a lot of that stuff. Yeah. And so if you were going to deal with the American market, you had to basically deal with their domestic market. So you couldn't make an international version of something like that for the States. Everything was sort of local. So, you always had to kind of take that into account. And so in a sense, you could say that, American soft power sort of established the look and feel of anime overseas to some degree, especially in the early Japanese years. So there you go. But
yay for keeping a gender-neutral villain, though.
They did, but I believe they didn't sort of highlight that as much as the Japanese show did.
Doesn't he qualify as a talking lizard, though? Stuff you wouldn't normally get away with. You kind of make an alien talk it instead and get away with it. Yeah.
True.
I'm surprised they let Yamato loose, though. I mean, that was the prestige Japanese battleship, wasn't it?
Yeah, and reclaiming a bit of Japanese pride after the defeat. Yeah, it was an interesting choice, but it's Star Blazers was something that we were brought up on.
Great.
Yeah. Other thing that should be,
kick-ass intro songs for Western.
Oh, absolutely. It really is. It's still stuck in the brain. Other thing I should mention is kind of something that we didn't get in Australia as much, but did happen in America, and we kind of got the resonance through cultural zeitgeist. So in Japan, this was the era of the super robot genre, making it really. So things like Get a Robot, Manga Z, and no, not quite from Macross yet.
Okay.
Hold off on that. Came through. So we didn't. America would have got some of that through public access TV or small cultural channels, especially in places like Hawaii and places with a larger Japanese population. We didn't quite get that, but what we did end up getting was Shogun Warriors. So those sort of things released in toy and comic form in Australia during the late 70s, and we still got that imagery and that sort of cultural zeitgeist. We just didn't get the animes to back it up. which quite curious.
So where does Voltron sit in all this? Is he
Voltron's a later one, which
slides, Lindsay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so let's shift into the 80s and we can talk about Voltron. So, okay, first off, let's talk about Astro Boy, because this was probably, for most of us, our first sort of experience with Astro Boy.
So this is my Astro Boy. So
Yeah.
I grew up with this Astro Boy. It's a great series. Of course, there has been modern takes on Astro Boy, but this has always been the one that I will go back to and rewatch if needed. Obviously, there's a lot of awesome, amazing versions. Like I really like the new Pluto.
Pluto's great.
Yeah.
Certainly.
But Astro Boy in this form, pure Tezuka, the animation, the style. It's even just because they're robots, it's that little step up in terms of animated style. All the characters have like awesome designs. The robots are amazing. I'd go so far to say that the robots in the original 80s version of the Greatest Robot on Earth sequence are better in the 80s version than the Pluto version.
I would sort of agree with that. I think in terms of,
I realize that's fighting words for some people, but
no, it's time and place, and it was the original progenitor of it. The new one.
Well, the original progenitor was the manga from the 1960s.
Well, that's true.
And Greatest Robot on Earth was an episode in the 60s version as well. So, so it's not like it's a story that hasn't been told before. But
this is like some of the remakes we saw in 80s movies, where the remakes become better than the original films that started them. And I always felt Astro Boy would be like the anime equivalent of that. I thought the early stuff was kind of cute, but the 80s stuff is an all-rounder. It's the complete package.
And weirdly enough, we actually got almost all of it. I think there was only one episode we ended up missing because the pilot kind of had 2 episodes in the Japanese version and some one in that. So that's why we don't see Atlas actually being made as a boy, similar copy of Astro Boy from Stolen Lands.
So we missed the early Atlas stuff.
Yeah. So we get references to it, but we're just going, what the hell? We just have mature Atlas coming along and acting as a villain later on.
True. Then we got, of course, Ulysses 31. I, love this series. Anything with Greek mythology is awesome. It's cheesy, and it's only a single season, but kick-ass production. The
Japanese
character designs. They do a space twist on a lot of the Greek myths, based around the Odyssey, which Ulysses, Odyssey, Odysseus, all of that pretty much comes to. The Greek gods are space gods, which gods as space gods has sort of been done a zillion times since.
It was the era of Chariots of the Gods still living on.
And of course, they had to have a cute little robot and a laser sword.
Yep, and the kick-ass theme song, which honestly, it is an amazing song.
The best, yeah.
Do you want to go for Mysterious Cities of Gold as well while you're there?
I can definitely talk about Mysterious Cities of Gold. Set like during the European invasion of South America. You've got a whole bunch of characters searching for the Mysterious Cities of Gold, which were sort of framed as either an alien species on Earth and a little bit of retro future tech of a died out culture. And really nicely done. Long epic story. So it was one of the few animations that we had growing up, because most of the Western animations were just single episodes. But a few of these Japanese animations during the 80s were continual stories.
I think this was also just a French co-production, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was, because there's something very similar to it that looks like it just came out of Canada with no budget, or came out of France with no budget at all.
There's it's been recently not remade but continued. So I think two or three seasons were done in the last 10 years. So
after decades away, it came back, which is phenomenal. I don't think there's been much that's had that much of a period of that it was culturally dead. Then back it comes.
And I don't know the last one, David. I've never.
Yeah, this is weird, because this is one of those that I've got a vivid memory of seeing as a kid, and it doesn't look like they've stated that it was shown in Australia. But yeah, this was basically an anime Thunderbirds taking the year 2086 and continuing with the Trotiel adventures with a new crew. And updated designs to the ships. So, sorry, go on.
Some of the ship designs are actually pretty good. They're not too far from the original, but
I really like the updated Thunderbird 2, but I've always been a fan of Thunderbird 2, so
Well, it's an iconic shape.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get. You can redesign it all you like, but you get it wrong by a little bit, and it just looks wrong. It's like the proportions on Thunderbird 2 are a bit like the proportions of a Dalek. You mess around with those and they just look weird. There's a couple of classic designs that do that. They're just right. And I don't know whether that's just familiarity, but the original concept would have fallen over a little bit if it had been just a bit weighted differently or looked at a bit differently. It's like, and Thunderbird 2 and a lot of things, some iconic pop culture icons are very much like that.
Yeah. So this was not extraordinary, but I loved it for getting an extra Thunderbirds kick. So yay. Let's switch on to that question of 1984 and Voltron. So this is Frankensteinian sort of creation. Beast King Go Lion and Armored Fleet Daruga 15. Sandwiched together to make Voltron. So
literally sandwiched together.
Yeah. So this is pretty much how we in Australia, got our first dose of Super Robot on animation was Voltron. And
I remember distinctly there was definitely camps between those people who loved the vehicle Voltron and those people who loved the Lion Voltron. Lion was way cooler, but
I always thought the proportions of this guy were kind of weird. Like they kind of built into him this idea of forced perspective.
Yeah.
It really looks like he's 400 stories tall or something with these weirdly triangular legs.
Like a lot of anime at the time, size was not consistent, but
it did.
That's something that continues for a long while. When we talk about Evangelion, we'll be mentioning the inconsistency size of the Eva as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, I'm not around for the Evangelion episode. Someone else can do it.
Oh, well, to that I say congratulations.
Well, that's
nice.
Anyway.
Beast King Go Lion. Sorry, go.
Evangelion is one of the reasons why I fell out of anime.
I'm not surprised. It's when every episode is just a teenager crying that they can't cope with the the dramas of their
Yeah.
piloting their giant, powerful robot. It's just, yeah.
Which is
Come back,
completely
yeah.
understandable.
Come back, Gen Z. All is forgiven. It's like.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry. Was I being a bit generous then? Oh, well.
Geez, apparently being a child soldier isn't all it's cracked up to be.
That's right.
Giant robot
That's right.
anime.
It makes a nice change from the 1960s, where you'd see some little 10-year-old boy hop into his car and go off to Gigantor's shed, and then go off and act like a proper spy with all the grown-ups. It's like,
Or giant robo or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about that later. We'll probably talk about Gundam at some stage again.
Certainly couldn't, you couldn't fault the design sense. So yeah.
But Voltron, a pair of TV series, one based about a bunch of paladins who pilot robot lions, and they come together to form Voltron, and the other, which is a group of vehicles that form together to form Voltron.
So many vehicles, though. So many vehicles.
Yeah,
so the characters.
Each limb is made up of like 5 vehicles or something. It's like a team of. It's the
it's not so much a robot as a convoy. Yeah.
Yeah. And while the Lion Voltron had like a stronger story, there was some really awesome design elements through the vehicle Voltron thing, and they were loosely linked together with some back and forths, because one of the characters resembled one of the characters in the other show, so they did this pen pal thing back and forth.
Yeah, which they weren't linked at all in the initial, but
yeah.
But when you got Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four in the same city, well,
yeah. Oh, should we skip over Sherlock Holmes for a bit and just lead to 1985?
Yeah, let's leap over to the next. Go back, Connor. Come on.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so we'll leap over to 1985. Speaking of Frankensteining things together.
Okay, so I'm happy to talk about Robotech because.
Go for it.
Okay, so prior to 1985, Carl Masek goes to Japan and basically buys up a whole bunch of Japanese series, which includes Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. I forget So Southern Cross, I forget what its full name is.
Southern Cross Cavalry. I can't remember what the first one is, and
Southern Cross Cavalry, and the last one is Genesis Climber Mosquito. Yeah, and so those 3 series, completely unrelated, but all involving some sort of tech about mechs. Generally transforming mechs, which was really, a good linking point, I suppose. But they tied those 3 series together that were fairly independent. The first 2 included blue-skinned aliens in both series, so there was a bit of a carry-on between them. The last one,
you're a Daft Punk fan. Yeah.
The last one included a new alien species as a threat to Earth. As a story continuation, but kind of tied it back to the Zentradi,
amazing arthropod designs, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. So the Zentradi were the bad guys in Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. Southern Cross had the Robotech Masters. Whatever they were called in Japan, I don't know. And then the Invid were the bad guys across. Yeah. And the Invid, I always remember they had amazing designs, like very, very cool alien shapes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like all their mechs were built like crabs or some very, very cool stuff. But they tied the story together so Dana Sterling, who is the main character of Southern Cross, is the daughter of two of the characters who have a romance in the first one. So there's a continual generation thing going on. I forget exactly what the familial relationship is in Robotech, the new generation, which is Genesis, Climber, Moss Peter.
Same here, actually. I know that was the time that the Sentinels were supposed to be happening as well.
I think Scott Bernard is supposed to be a descendant, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Someone in the chat might know. So if they say anything,
interesting,
maybe. But yeah, so those three series, completely unrelated in Japan, all tied together and mashed together. You had everything from Lin Min-Mei saving the galaxy by singing to a bunch of aliens and convincing them that peace was the way, to people who could stop riding their motorbikes and wear them later on as suits. Yeah, including the first drag queen main character in an animation, with Lancer in So and Lancer's cross-dressing there's nothing said about it beyond the beyond the first episode, except did they bring the Lancer's drag outfit back?
I believe there's a few performances by is it Dancer? He's on stage. No, the on-stage personas. Dancer or something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
So this was the 80s, and they had drag queens in kids' cartoons, and now they won't even let them read to kids in libraries. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh well. Okay.
Like That whole
I can see it now.
I can
see it now. We watched a podcast from Australia. Let's ban it. It was already screened like 40 years ago. Sorry.
Missed the boat. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So
something about Sherlock Hound.
Yeah, there's not much to tell. There's a few I remember this vaguely. It's a Japanese-Italian co-production. It's Sherlock Holmes, but obviously anthropomorphized. And
I thought Miyazaki had a play in this one. It's one of his earliest bits. Not as a director, but involved in it.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Okay.
This is I'll have to go back on that one. Let you actually again comments. Let us know.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. And we also, as Tanya stated last week, last time.
I won't say much about Wizard of Oz again, because we did talk about it last month. Go back and watch that episode because there's tons, and quite happy to talk about that. I did want to say again because I just remembered that there's Lisa Hayes on that on the slides there, and Robotech the Macross Saga includes this weird love triangle thing going on between Rick Hunter, Lin Min-Mei, and Lisa Hayes, when Rick, who has this super crush on the celebrity singer Lin Min-Mei, finally decides that she's just way too high maintenance.
Yeah. Honestly, Lisa Hayes is an upgrade. Seriously.
Yes.
Wow.
No. Agreed.
So apparently, Miyazaki worked on 6 episodes in 1982 until problems with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's estate led to a suspension in production. Thank you, Wikipedia. So he must have been learning his trade at that time.
Yeah, it's weird because the other thing I was going to comment on is I swear we got a few of the sort of more of the literary based anime in Australia.
We definitely did.
I can't recall what there was, and I couldn't find any sort of notification of that. So if you can think of any that were
I'd
screening,
recognise that scarecrow anywhere. Yeah, I don't remember much of the Wizard of Oz stuff, but I do remember seeing it on weekends, like Sunday afternoon television. It was one of those things that they didn't repeat on weeknights, like they would with, say, Battle of the Planets or something like that. But it would be one of those things that turned up like a weekend.
I can tell you exactly when the Wizard of Oz screened. It was 6 a.m. on the ABC.
Oh, maybe that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't remember Sherlock
Get up
Holmes at all,
early and watch it.
but it looks really good.
Cool. And the other thing we should mention in the 80s was, again, a lot of animation from the United States was going over to Japan to be animated. So, like Transformers, owe a lot to, I think it was Toei at the time.
There's a convoluted history with Transformers and toy acquisitions going to America beforehand. Yeah.
Which goes back to G.I. Joe. So it's complicated. And Rod's Micronauts into it as well.
I can see you two are just itching to talk about that for a few more hours.
No, let's not. Otherwise,
let's not. We're already 5 minutes over. Let's wrap it up with talking about the movies.
Oh yeah, okay. So I guess we should state at this time, video technology during the 80s, video technology was taking off. So we had ability to record stuff. Record stuff on TV and more access to physical media to hold on to being sold to us. So it kind of opened up the floodgates in a number of different ways. You'd have anime communities actually being able to trade videotapes, sometimes worldwide, and more access to content I hadn't seen before. Through well, not illegal means, but not being
basically.
It's just it's a network of friends, exactly. And
just post videos or books to each other.
Yeah. And during the late 80s, you started getting clubs coming together. I think Jaffa doesn't come into it officially to the 90s, but I've got to assume that there was trading of cassettes going on.
Well, most of the things like the early Swan Cons and the early science fiction clubs and all that stuff, and I guess Ralph Pays for Comics, I think was one of the first comic shops that appeared in the 80s in Perth, became a hotspot for all that sort of stuff, and it became more of a theme. That's the first official comic shop that I know of. And it was like, following the US style of, these huge things. Up to that point, it was basically playing lucky dip with whatever free-to-air gave you, or you just walk into a newsagent one day and there's, amongst all the comics, there's some weird, strange stuff in there. So I came across things like Barefoot Jen as manga first.
Oh, wow.
Right? I didn't see the movie until much later. And most of the 80s anime didn't become mainstream until after Akira. And then suddenly there was this huge retrofitting. You get distributors like Madman packaging little festivals of anime. That's how I caught up with a lot of it on the big screen.
As I said, we're going to have to talk about that in the 90s. We've got to hold some stuff back for the next series that we're doing next year of this. So chart it down as an idea and we'll go back to that. But we did get 1984. We did get Nausicaa Valley of the Wind being released on home video for a cut down American version.
It was this kind of weird thing where some rinky-dink distributor got the film, chopped it to little tiny bits, put some really tacky Z-grade narration all over it and stuff, and then released it. And so, of course, it went absolutely nowhere fast. But I didn't find that.
It blew me away when I saw it. It was like I hadn't seen anything like that.
I caught it and I'd never heard of it before, which in hindsight is just bananas. So I didn't catch up with that until about the mid-90s or early 90s. So
I came across that in the late 80s, and the flight sequences in that just
Well,
Just amazing. Yeah.
the first thing I thought of was like, oh my god, the Japanese have just discovered Mobius. If you look at Arzak and his famous comics from Metal Hurlant in the early 70s.
Yeah.
It's
that
this.
that is a conversation. Yeah. There is a lot of we have to acknowledge there is a lot of Mobius in Japanese
Yeah,
animation.
so there's a really weird period from mid to late 70s where, Mobius and the French New Wave, whatever you call it, influenced everything from Star Wars to Hollywood, and at the same time.
Star Wars is a more tenuous link. You could definitely point at Alien. But
for sure. But the thing is, if you look at a lot of the anime stuff, it goes from that kind of Astro Boy stuff to the kind of realistic. They have a kind of realistic tradition as well, and then they sort of went epic in the late 70s. And there was this sort of gestalt thing happening in pop culture at the time.
Yeah,
it was a kind of combination of Star Wars and maturing and all kinds of stuff. It was good.
Yeah, Akira definitely owes a debt to Mobius, and the director would actually state that has stated that themselves.
Yeah. And all the anime subsequent to that has been very much influenced by people like Otomo, who were then influenced by Mobius. And you got to remember, it was Ridley Scott that picked up Mobius also and ran with it. And you can thank Jodorowsky's Dune.
Dune. Yeah, the
putting all that together, tripping over its own feet, and then it went off like a creative bomb. It was really interesting.
And then, of course, the cyberpunk movement as well, especially with Blade Runner for Scott owes to Mobius. So there's a lot we could discuss there.
Yeah, it's a huge. It's like a giant multi.
Do we need to do a French episode?
Wow, that's a good question. Maybe.
That's
I don't know if you made much animation. There was only about 3 or 4.
It's mainly comic history you'd be talking about and graphic design.
Yeah,
there's definitely a bit of that. You also got you've got the Les Trumps. You've got if you count Belgian as part of French, which the French won't, but
it gets complicated. But
it is complicated. Les Trumps. You've got Tintin. You've got Mobius stuff, which
Lieutenant Blueberry when he was doing westerns as well as stuff.
You've got
under his actual name.
You got Goscinny and Uderzo.
And going up to recently, what was it, Mars Express? 2-3 years back, French animated movie that came out.
The thing about the French stuff is that it was very introspective as much as anything, which you look at some of the Miyazaki stuff and it's got this rich internal life as well as this rich world building as well. And the combination of the two is what makes it quite compelling. Anyway.
So we're getting well off topic, but you did mention Mobius being a influence for Akira. So let's look at 1989, Streamline Pictures, founded by Carl Masick and cartoon historian Jerry Beck, distributed a number of pictures. Laputa, Kiki's Delivery Service, Twilight of the Cockroaches, My Neighbor Totoro, and of course the big one that really set the screens ablaze at the time was Akira, and that was inflammatory. That was the match that really the way for
I literally remember the first time I watched it, and there's that scene where Kaneda falls off his bike and picks it up, and the bike looks like it's got weight, and it's just so the movement is so amazingly put together.
Also, how often did you see actual riots in an animated film? The whole opening number, effectively, they've got basically political rioting going on in the city, being broken up by the riot cops. It's a real dystopia. It's quite amazing. Yeah. So
yesterday. You literally saw Akira yesterday.
Well done.
Oh,
Never too
wonderful.
late, mate.
I haven't
mean,
caught Paprika yet. It's actually on my pile of shame. I've
Well,
got to
look,
I've got to watch Perfect Blue again. Speaking of,
there's a
things.
whole period during the noughties and tens that you could probably spend a whole episode on as well with anime.
Oh yeah, look, we'll come back to this again. But I think that wraps us up for the 80s, going into the 90s. So we're starting to see America take off with videotape distribution for both series and movies. We've had a big boom in anime in the 80s in Japan itself, and some of the mainstays have started to make a name for themselves. Studio Gainax is just forming, I believe, roundabout there with things like Project Echo being released. So yeah, there's a lot taking off. The otaku community, of course, has more codified coming together for, was it Charles Counterattack? It was the film release of the Gundam series, and having thousands of people actually appear for a preview was unexpected and showed that there was a fan base for that sort of thing in the very early 80s. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm not familiar with that one.
I do not know of Mighty Space Miners. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. All right, I'll look that up.
Space operas I've never seen. I should check them out.
Okay. Fair enough.
Interesting.
Okay.
So yeah,
well,
it's it from the 90s.
let's deal with those things when we get to them. But let's wrap up for the evening. Thank you,
All right.
gents. And it is goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
That's goodbye from me.
And that's the cue to end the stream, I think.
Thank you.